Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Carlisle. I'm here with Ralph Price. This is another episode of the Carlisle Price Show, coming to you from Conservative New Media. And what are we going to talk about today, Ralph?
Alright, so for today, I want to talk about, a few days ago, I was checking the news, and there was an article that caught my surprise, and that article said, it was an article about Hu Jintao, the president of China, and he said that the dollar is a product of the past, and it must be replaced as the world reserve currency with the yuan. Now, if I were any normal person, I'd be pretty worried about this.
Okay, so we have the Chinese president in the United States.
Actually, he's in the United States right now.
1 second. Okay, so we got the Chinese president in the United States, and he's meeting with President Obama.
Yeah.
And the Chinese president comes out and says that he feels that the dollar should be replaced as a world reserve currency with a more stable currency such as his own, the yuan.
The yuan.
Now, when we're talking about the yuan, China's had accusations against them about
human rights problems.
Human rights problems. They talk about their actual dollars, their yuan, about changing the value of it, manipulating the value of their yuan. We've had problems with China trade-wise. They own $900 billion of our bonds.
Overall, we've exported about $3 trillion of our debt to China.
$3 trillion of our dollars to debt to China. And, you know, this is a really big predicament, because the only reason the United States is allowed to do what they're doing
is because we are the world reserve currency.
We are the world's reserve currency. Everything in the world, whether it's corn, whether it's oil, any commodity is traded in the dollar, which means every country in the world has to own dollars.
It doesn't matter if our money is worth nothing, because we can buy products with our money.
Exactly, you can buy products with your money because every country has to trade with it. But if the world reserve currency status were to leave, now all we have is an inflated currency backed by nothing, paper, basically, and nobody else in the world has to use it, which means you're stuck with your own inflation paper.
So, the only thing we're riding upon is that the fact that we're the world reserve currency, and if we're no longer the world reserve currency, then we have nothing to go on, and our economy is just going to collapse.
Okay, so this Chinese president comes over here, and I saw an interesting quote. I don't know what you guys are feeling over. Donald Trump came out a couple days ago, and he said that here's the way you deal with the Chinese president. If he was president, the Chinese president would not be here on the United States soil. He would not be meeting with the president. Donald Trump says that he would send the Chinese president home, and he would really negotiate with them and bring real deals on here, because the Chinese are unfairly unfairly manipulating the market and giving the United States the bad end of trade deals. Now, I don't know what your feeling are definitely with, you know, Donald Trump, but the fact is, businessmen, the biggest businessmen, United States businessmen, are saying, why is this president of China here in the United States basically bullying around the president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world?
I think it's a damn shame that China's even in the US and telling us that our money isn't worth anything, and that China should replace our money with theirs.
I don't know about you,
you two peeps,
but if I went into your home and I told you that your home sucked, I told you that you have a shitty home, and I insulted you personally, what would you do to me? You'd throw me out, right?
Yeah.
You show respect in my home. And the Chinese president comes to the United States and talks about replacing the dollar as the world reserve currency, and then this comes on the heels of China, talking about China, where Robert Gates went to China, and the Chinese defense secretary basically went up to Robert Gates and basically said, stop messing around, we're the powerful ones.
Yeah.
He called our defense secretary out, and our defense secretary didn't do anything. Why are we over there talking like this? What? China's basically slapping the United States across the face on every single leader, on human rights when it comes to Hillary Clinton, defense when it comes to Robert Gates, and then he comes into our country and is talking to our president, talking rhetoric like that, and we're not doing anything about it?
If they pull the plug on us, we have nowhere to export a debt, we have no one to buy our products from.
That's the thing. China does have the advantage in the situation in what they have. They have so much of our debt. But now let's talk about a couple solutions Let's talk about some of the things that are leading to why China has to lend us so much and why we have to borrow so much. It's entitlements, right?
Of course.
We have to borrow so much to pay entitlements that we don't have the money for. But what we have to do is, how are we going to flip that? How are we going to change that?
Well, the first thing we got to do is we got to start making stuff. We're going to make our own products.
We got to become a productive economy. We have to become the China. Why is China so powerful, and why does everyone talk about in the world about China being so powerful? It's because they make stuff. They produce stuff. Everyone buys goods from China. No one buys goods from the United States. The only reason the United States is afloat is because they trade in the dollar. Our only good is paper money.
Yep.
and that's no good as a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So
and they're calling us out on it.
So number one, we got to start making stuff. We got to prove when you come into a fight, you can talk all you want before the fight, but when you go into the fight, you better back it up. You better be able to walk the walk as well as talk the talk.
Yep.
Now, United States, they're not even talking the talk right now. But if you're the United States of America, the most powerful country in the world, you've got to back it up. You can't just go off of a saying. You've got to prove it. You've got to build the stuff yourself. You've got to build an economy. You've got to eliminate the corporate tax.
Yeah.
So that corporations come back to the United States and we can get manufacturing back here. We have the highest corporate tax rate in the world, man, right up there. Why would anyone want to do business here when you can go to China
and make a business in a week or two?
Make a business in a week or two when it takes 4 months to start up here. You have no red tape, and then you have 10% cheaper corporate tax. Why would you not want to go to China to do your business?
Yep, but the thing is, they don't do the things we do. If you want to cut taxes, we're going to have to slash spending, and I don't think either sides of the board want to cut spending, either on defense or entitlement spending.
I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. When it comes back down to it, what we've got to do is cut. We've got to cut. We cannot, number one thing, we cannot raise the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling, I hope all these freshman Republicans that come in, they've got to stick to their grounds on this one. It's not a shutdown of the government. Democrats will go out there and try to say the Republicans are shutting down the government. That's not what you do. You go out there in attack mode and you say that the Democrats want to tax you more, want to spend money that we don't have, and we don't want to spend money we don't have. We cannot raise that debt ceiling. That's the number one thing. We got to draw. My basic point is, I told my friend this the other day, what it comes down to is we have to draw our line in the sand. Our line in the sand. For too long, Republicans have been getting pushed back, and folding on every line that's drawn. Right now, the Republicans need to draw a line in the sand and just say, we will not raise the debt ceiling limit, and we don't care what you want to do, what your rhetoric's going to be, it's not going to get raised. We're going to have to get back to fiscal responsibility and spend dollar for dollar what we bring in. And we're not going to raise taxes to do it either. We've got to cut entitlements. That includes Social Security and Medicare as well as defense.
Well, that's the thing is, they got to do what they were elected to do. And we don't know if they're going to do that, but I hope they do that.
I hope they do that. They got to govern like they're supposed to govern when they're elected. They can't play these politics and all this rhetoric.
Because then again, because they can blame the Democrats. They can blame the Democrats for the spending, for the entitlement spending, for defense budget, but you gotta do what you're supposed to do.
Okay, listen, YouTube. I can yell and scream Obama as a corporatist, he's a socialist. I can yell, I can insult Obama until I'm blue in the face, okay? But when it comes down to it, it's not gonna get anything done. It's not gonna get anything done.
You gotta
stop talking the talk. We as Republicans, as conservatives, we've gotta stop blaming rhetoric on the Democrats. And we've gotta draw our line in the sand. I mean, you can insult a Democrat when they do something wrong, okay? But you don't want. You gotta back up your talk. You gotta go out there and do something. You gotta take action. And the number one action we've gotta take, the number one thing, draw our line in the sand. Do not give. We cannot raise the debt ceiling. We cannot allow our country to keep buying debt, which goes back to China. Because if we raise that debt ceiling, you better believe that China will be buying more of our debt and getting a stronger grip hold on this country.
And we can't increase debt. We can't print the money either.
So when it comes down to it, in the end, Republicans, get ready to play the game.
We're conservatives.
The talk,
we're strong.
The before game talk, the before game MMA match, all that's done. We've talked the talk. You guys are sworn in now. The biggest vote on the debt ceiling is coming up in the next couple of weeks. Do not fold. Do not listen to promises of cutting spending. Do not get bought out by corporations. This is going to be proven. Are we really going to change? Are we really going back to conservative values? Or are we going to be the same old, raise the debt ceiling every year? We've got control of the House. We control the spending. We control whether we raise the debt limit. Let's not raise the debt limit.
Enough with the blame game.
No more blame game. We got to take China head on, and by doing that, we've got to regain control of our economy. We've let the ball go into China's hands. They're dribbling the ball for our game. We've got to take control of it. We've got to go back in first place. We got to start making stuff, cut taxes, go back to fiscal responsibility.
We are the strong man here. Do you remember that commercial that we saw?
What was the commercial?
It was a commercial we saw that the Chinese professor was practically ridiculing our country, saying that sooner or later, we are going to work for them.